Hello and welcome to Sorcerer's Workshop, where we are always cooking up something new for you to use in your next D&D adventure. Today I have for you the Roper and the Piercer, which are the two sort of stalagmite, stalactite monsters that are found throughout Dungeons & Dragons caves and caverns. We're going to start with the Piercer because it is, in my opinion, by far the simpler of the two. We're going to start with the part of the roof that the Piercer is going to hang on. It's really just a piece of XPS foam that's sort of cut into this sort of circular shape. Doesn't have to be perfect, it's just a sort of not quite a placeholder, but just so it can actually look like it's hanging off something. Next we're going to make the Piercer itself, which is really just a XPS piece of foam cut at a sort of a random angle, then smoothed off to sort of make a triangle sort of shape in all directions, and then just the corners are smoothed off. I also make a sort of a very small little piece to act as just a secondary sort of stalactite. I have looked up which one, so stalactite is C for ceiling with the K, so stalactite is the top one. There is the sort of the secondary piece that I made. It just adds something to it, so it's not just a triangle, and then that is the sort of the top bit on top that will be there. So what we're going to do is carve a mouth. It's really just a gaping hole. And we're going to just use a knife to cut sort of an area, and then get a pencil and just go over it, just like this, just to create something that could maybe be a mouth of some sort, and create sort of areas where maybe teeth could go or something, I don't know. There it is, all glued together. So there are the three parts, and then we're going to move that away and quickly create an eye, an eye which is just a blob of hot glue, a blob of focused hot glue, hopefully, just like this. Leave it to dry for a few seconds, and then like so, and then using hot glue, add just a tiny bit, that's almost too much there, and stick this eye, circular sort of eye, on top of it. That is basically all you need for the making of the Piercer. We're going to go paint it now. Look at that, 2.5 minutes, and you already got a Piercer. It's pretty efficient, if you ask me. That's how we are at the Sorcerer's Workshop channel here. Very, very efficient. So let's get into painting. All over burnt umber, but not not quite all over. All over except for the eye. If you get on the eye, it doesn't really matter. You'll just have to maybe do a second layer of the red for the eye later on. But yeah, if you can get it off the eye, it just makes it easier to paint. Next, we're going to go with a tan dry brush all over again. Not trying to hit the eye. This one doesn't as much matter because it's a bit lighter. But just tan all over. Don't forget the top. But yeah, this is just a light dry brush. Now a slightly heavier dry brush with a sort of a grey again. Don't forget the top, don't forget the sides. Try to miss the eye, but this one is really just another dry brush to sort of get that sort of stony, earthy sort of colour. Now we're going to get a sort of a red-orange. It's a reddy-orange sort of colour, more red than orange, and just go over all the eye. So round, make sure you get the edges where it's sort of seeped into the burnt umber's seeped into it. Now it's just a black pencil or black paintbrush. If you're that good at painting, I'm not, so I use a pen, draw a slit down, and like that, it is done. I'll have a better review at the end. This is just a quick look at it. Yeah, it's suspended using a wire on the base. Now onto the Roper. It is almost the same, upside down. It is a stalagmite. Stalagmite, G for ground. See, I'm learning which way it is. So you want a sort of a cone shape like this almost. Make sure there aren't too many straight edges, and make sure it's sort of toned down like this. It can be bigger, it can be larger. Mine is about 5 centimeters tall, which is sort of the right height. Then we're going to do the same trick and just make a slightly larger eye out of hot glue and stick that about a third way down from the top, is what I sort of found look quite good, like so. Next we're going to move on to making the mouth. So get a blade. Do be careful with this because you could cut yourself, and we don't want that. So make it sort of, I'd say a third of the length of the whole Roper, but sort of more towards the middle. So I cut sort of a circle like this, and then sort of just cut into it like this to really just create this gaping hole. It's going to be filled with teeth. Well, not the hole's not, but the around side is, so it doesn't really matter what it looks like too much, because it's just going to be painted, so you won't really see it too much from 3 feet away. Now to make the teeth. On my 3-minute miniatures channel, you've probably seen quite a few miniatures with sort of teeth. Well, this is exactly how I make them. A really thin piece of XPS foam, like this. Make sure you cut it so it's straight, and you don't want it too thin, because too thin can just, when you're painting it, can like snap, and then you got to re-glue it. It's like, it's awful. We don't want that. So then you're just going to cut sort of triangles, more isosceles triangles than any other type, because you sort of want that isosceles with like a tall point, so more like a pointed triangle than sort of an equilateral one. I did 2 layers of teeth because I did one, it just didn't look quite good enough. But you can see they're all over the place. This thing is not a, not a very, it's unnatural, so it's got teeth everywhere. Now we're going for the roper's arms. These are just literally 6 on either side. No, 6 in total, 3 on either side. Just wire like this. They're put in different angles. Some are sort of reaching, some are just flailing around. And I wanted one to be sort of holding something on the base. I just put another stalagmite, and that's the one on the right now on the left, the very front one, which is sort of curved. You can see that's going to be holding a stalagmite. Because I just thought that would be cool, and it does actually look quite cool. You can see this one sort of curved there, and then you got a few sort of, they're just going everywhere really, like it's just sort of like the adventurers have come across it, it's just sort of exploded out with tentacles. It is almost the exact same process as the piercer to make this. It is starting with burnt umber, going everywhere except for the eye and the mouth this time. Don't go in the teeth or inside the mouth. You can go around it, make sure you're close. Like this, all over the tentacles as well, I forgot to mention that. Second is, once again, get a light tan dry brush, but slightly heavier down the bottom, because it's sort of grown out of the floor. So I did it slightly heavy down the bottom, but you don't have to if you don't want to. This one, again, it's okay if you get on the teeth, because once again it's a dry brush, but because you can paint over it. And then with a grey dry brush, heavier than the tan one, just all over again to get the rocky sort of color that you want. Make sure you get rid of all the tan on the tentacles, because the tentacles did get quite a lot of tan dry brush on them. Now the eye, once again with this red, just all over the eye, making sure you're not missing any bits on the very edge, like so. And then, because I'm not quite confident with a paintbrush quite yet, using the black pen, sorry, to draw on the eye slit, and that looks pretty good. Now to do the mouth, which is the last part, we're going to use this, which is a mixture of red and the burnt sombrera, which I use. This is to go all inside the mouth, like so. Make sure you're not missing a couple of places. It's a little bit hard to get in there, but I use a pretty small paintbrush, so it makes it a bit easier. And then you also want to go round the edge of the mouth, just a little bit, just to sort of create like a gums sort of area. Something like this is alright. Might want to be a bit neater with it, but hey, it's alright. And then finally, you want a white all over the teeth. And that is basically it. I'll have a final look at the miniatures at the very end. But other than that, I want to thank you very much for watching. And yeah, there you are, wrapped around the tentacle. Otherwise, I shall see you next week. Goodbye and take care.